But what is mindfulness, and how does it differ from other meditation practices? The father of mindfulness, John Kabat-Zinn, defines mindfulness as a means of paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. Another leader in the mindfulness practice is Thich Nhat Hanh, who defines mindfulness as what is happening in our bodies, our emotions, our mind, and in the world. Through mindfulness, we avoid harming others and ourselves. Daniel Siegel defines mindfulness in its most general sense. It's about waking up from a life on automatic and being sensitive to novelty in our everyday experiences. With mindful awareness, the flow of energy and information that is our mind enters our conscious attention, and we can both appreciate its contents and come to regulate its flow in a new way. Mindful awareness, as we will see, actually involves more than just simply being aware. It involves being aware of aspects of the mind itself. Instead of being on automatic and mindless, mindfulness helps us awaken, and by reflecting on the mind, we're able to make choices, and thus change becomes possible.
I think that why we need mindfulness in education, for me, is best summed up by this quote. The highest function of education is to bring about an integrated individual who's capable of dealing with life as a whole. I love that. That, to me, makes a lot of sense. But before you can deal with life as a whole, I think you have to deal with yourself as a whole. Among other things, we're made up of mind, body, and heart. Negotiating our way through this human journey requires us to employ all of these components in relationship to one another.
A study done by Fisher in 2006 found that students are experiencing stress at unprecedented levels, which leads to anger, anxiety, depression, and externalizing behavior. Through mindfulness practices, adaptive self-regulation strategies are learned, which lead to physical and mental well-being and more positive socioeconomic outcomes in adulthood. The Canadian Journal of Counseling and Psychotherapy published a study by Rempel that showed mindfulness can improve self-confidence, self-esteem, create stronger peer socialization skills, more sustained, focused attention, and optimism. And a study by Henley found that constant engagement in mindfulness for 6 months or more sustained benefits like lower depressive symptoms and stress. Mindfulness begets metacognition, which allows students to become more open to their individual learning styles and reflect on which methods work best for them. As stated by Abdullah in 2001, self-directed learners are students who are managers of their own learning process. Through gaining self-regulation strategies learned in mindfulness, students are able to have peace within their often hectic school days and take time to reflect, which unleashes their learning potential. Being able to metacognitively reflect on their learning affects a student's motivation. Instead of being frustrated with their challenges, they understand the reasons behind their challenges and can collaboratively problem solve to get around these barriers, as stated by Green. By empowering learners, students can engage in their classroom communities more authentically. Increased learner diversity strengthens a community of students and creates a unique learning environment. So, how does mindfulness tie into technology? The .B program, short for Stop and Be, is the UK's leading online mindfulness curriculum targeted at 11 through 18-year-olds. The program includes 10 lessons, starting with Lesson 1, Paying Attention, which introduces students to this thing we call attention, which, like a puppy, needs to be trained.
How your mind is a bit like a puppy. It bounces around all over the place and sometimes seems to have a life of its own.
Lesson 2 is Taming the Animal Mind, which explores different mind states and teaches that anchoring attention in the body alongside the cultivation of curiosity and kindness can be calming and nourishing. Lesson 3, Recognizing Worry, explains the tricks our minds play that lead to stress and anxiety and gives us techniques to deal with them. Lesson 4, Being Here and Now, comes to the heart of mindfulness and teaches us how to respond rather than react to whatever happens in our lives. Lesson 5, Moving Mindfully, shows us that mindfulness is not just something we do sitting or lying down. It also looks at high performance and in sport. Lesson 6, Stepping Back, offers us a new way of relating to our thoughts. We don't have to let them carry us away to places we'd rather not be. Lesson 7, Befriending the Difficult, deals with the greatest challenge of all, dealing with difficult emotions. Lesson 8, Taking in the Good, focuses on gratitude in the heartfulness of taking in and savoring what is good in life. Lesson 9, Pulling It All Together, consolidates the key techniques from Stop and Be and inspires students to use what they have learned in the future. Mindfulness in Schools project is the UK's leading provider of mindfulness classroom curricula. MISP was established in 2009 and has since offered high-quality face-to-face training to thousands of teachers. Our highly acclaimed curricula include .B for secondary schools, Pause B for primary schools, and .B Foundations. Our aim is to bring mindfulness to young people and to those who care for them. We hope that every child and teacher in the UK has the opportunity to learn about mindfulness at school in order to help them manage difficulties and flourish. In 2016, MISP achieved charitable status. We are now able to help children living in areas of high deprivation to access mindfulness by offering supported places on teacher training courses. These are offered to UK schools who have above average numbers of pupils receiving free school meals. MISP advised the Mindfulness All-Party Parliamentary Group on the Mindful Nation UK Report 2015. By now, I hope I've made it abundantly clear why it's important to teach mindfulness to our students and become trained in mindfulness practices ourselves. In addition to being portable, accessible, intrinsic, and above all free, teaching mindfulness to our students will help support their holistic growth and development into adulthood. Teaching mindfulness helps strengthen students' emotional intelligence through their development of emotional vocabulary and feelings inside themselves. Through modeling mindfulness meditation and practice, students engage in social learning theory.
But mindfulness is a practical tool that can help students cultivate this inner understanding. It's a realistic way for students to understand how their mind, body, and heart work in any given moment.
Teachers need to be trained using a 4-day course which prepares teachers that have met the prerequisites to teach the 10-lesson curriculum. Once finished the training, a passcode is provided that leads the teacher to the different online curriculum that they can then show to their students. In addition, they receive a student booklet, a teacher booklet, teacher notes, and a PowerPoint slideshow of each lesson. Training is instrumental to carrying out this curriculum because without being properly trained in mindfulness techniques, there could be no difference between meditation mindfulness and the centuries-old mindfulness practice in which the mind is focused on one specific thing, not something going on inside the body.
Practicing mindfulness made my personal life way better. I felt more connected to myself. And when I got back to the classroom, it made my professional life better too. Because I was connected with myself, I was also more connected with my students. We were able to create relationship, and that's where I think lots of deep learning occurs. There's a lot of talk these days about 21st century learning skills. And life skills are a part of those, but really, as we know, much of the focus in education tends to be on tech skills. If we're really interested in helping students deal with life, we need to teach them how their minds work.
Another helpful tool to help teach mindfulness in classes is the Mindful Kids card deck. The cards are separated into 5 different categories. There's Start Your Day to help you stay grounded, feel strong, focused, and confident as the students begin each day. Find Calm, learn how to handle tricky or challenging emotions. Focus, for strengthening the mind, waking up the brain, building concentration, and sharpening sensory awareness. Open Your Heart, to help accept life with kindness, feel a sense of self-acceptance and connection to the world. And Rest and Relax, to unwind your tangles. Reflect, relax, and ease your busy mind. I've used these cards in sessions with kids. I really like the representation. There's students with different skin colors, clear, different religious identifications. The cards are user-friendly. Students can be really interested in doing the activities with you. The vocabulary is developmentally appropriate for elementary and middle school levels. And I am going to show one of the activities. I'd like to invite you to take a restful position in your chair. You're invited to pass if you don't want to participate. Close your eyes and come into a relationship with your breath. Feel the inhale, feel the exhale. Flow through a few rounds of breath. This activity is called Reflection Pond, and it's a start your day activity. Sit mindfully with your spine straight and your body relaxed. Close your eyes and take 3 soft, slow, mindful breaths. Imagine you are in a forest with tall trees. You hear the birds chirping, the squirrels running across fallen leaves on the ground. You are sitting in front of a small pond. The water is still. Look into the pond. See the reflection of the trees in the clear water. What else do you see? Do you see yourself reflected in the water too? Imagine dropping a pebble into the pond. See the ripples in the water. Keep watching, and when the water becomes still again, open your eyes. Look for still water in the pond anytime you want to feel calm. After students and teachers have engaged in mindfulness practices, student skills as media creators can be called upon. They can create their own mindfulness meditation videos to share and critique with each other. The creation of their own mindfulness practices through video or in group work employs all the levels of Bloom's taxonomy, from remembering what mindfulness is, to understanding the benefits, applying their knowledge, analyzing the research, evaluating each other's presentations, and finally, creating their own. You might be asking, what makes a good mindfulness activity or practice? I would suggest listening to the definitions of mindfulness in the beginning of the video, which focuses on non-judgmentally accepting and understanding the feelings within the body, the sensations that are arising, being able to let thoughts float away like clouds. Mindfulness is about the here and now, not necessarily thinking about a calm place, trying to take your focus out of the body onto a different entity. Being open to allowing students to pass is also a major tenet of mindfulness. You don't want to force this practice on students, not like we would want to be forced to do anything either. It's open, it's accepting, it's calming, relaxing. It can be done with sound, it could be done with taste, sight, all the senses. As long as there's focus on the inner body and the intent, what's happening inside, that would constitute a strong mindful practice.